Wow, we haven't done that in a long while.
I know, it threw me off. 3 claps? Where did that one come from?
What?
3?
Yeah,
There's
you guys
3?
hear that voice? Who's that mysterious voice
Who's
that just
that
came
one?
across the airwaves?
Who is that?
Bum, bum,
Welcome back, Shoreline.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
It's good to be back, man. It's been a crazy few months, but I am very happy to be here, and couldn't be for a better occasion. We have hit 25,000 downloads.
25,000. That's craziness. I still blow my mind's still blown thinking about that number.
Yeah,
I know, it seemed unattainable at one point, or I never thought, at least I was like, 25,000. Yeah, we'll get there in a few years' time or whatever,
I remember around just a little after this time last year, we were just barely crossing 3,000, and that was like our first ever in-person recording. We were just like laughing and joking about it, like, hey, we're gonna hit 3,000 here soon, guys. Freaking awesome. Now look at us, like more than 8 times that amount in a year span.
Yeah, man,
that's pretty sweet.
It's a lot. I'm very thankful for all the listeners and all the patrons, and it's really kind of taken a life of its own. I was joking about this with Six the other day. I mean, this was originally supposed to be a seasonal podcast. Like, we were going to go so many episodes and then call it a season, take a break, write episodes, do all that. And we decided to not do that because we had so much momentum that we wanted to keep that going. And that's why we've released an episode every week since last August.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's right. I forgot about the seasonal thing. I forgot all about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember too when we first pitched it, like, oh, let's just record 10 and call it quits, like what Shoreline was saying. But
Six, you and I were sitting in the office together, and you're like, hey, man, we should record these conversations we have. I was like, oh, yeah, that sounds cool. And then I get a text like the next morning because we were working swings, and I get that text and it says, hey, man, I've made some contacts with some people, and they do podcasts, and I'm researching how to set up a podcast and let us know. Oh, okay, right on, man. Well, let me know what you need from me, and then next you know, we got some of those initial mics. I remember, I think they were like $25 off of Amazon,
Oh yeah, and they were rough. Let's say that. They were rough.
They're definitely rough because of like the areas we're recording in. They would be workable at most other places, but
yeah, like if we were in dead silence, like in a void where nothing else existed but us.
Yeah,
if you wanted to record in your closet all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I had a few people tell me, like, hey, were you sitting in your bathroom when you were recording those first couple of episodes? I was like, no, I was just sitting right in my bedroom. And said, man, it sounds like you were in your bathroom underwater in your bathtub.
Yeah.
Just it's because of the echo from the room. But fortunate for us, we've got Shoreline to give us the good news and the good info on what mics to get and what we should order. And then he works his wizardry in the background to make us sound like I got a face for radio.
You do pretty damn good.
Well, I mean, initially I had the dragon breath issues going on, but I've tried to rectify that.
The mic helps for sure, and yeah, but you've come a long way with your dragon breath.
That's good.
Yeah, I think we've all came quite a ways from hearing ourselves the first time. I remember how off-putting and awkward that was. I'm like, it's so weird hearing myself, especially in the headphones. Like, wow, this is awkward. This is so weird. And then
totally.
And then to going to now these, and then having a little bit of a pace that we can set ourselves to. And I think one of the bigger ones is when we started getting recognized for certain things like charts and awards. That was very humbling, at least for me, because when we first started this, we didn't have any intention of even considering being recognized for something. And then we just get like random emails. Oh, by the way, you guys hit this chart. You guys hit this. Oh, you're nominated for this. Like, what?
Yeah, it's insane. And like you mentioned, I mean, the Veteran Podcast Awards, that wasn't something that I thought that wasn't even on our radar, when we first started this thing, especially not within the first year. I mean, that was huge. And
then to win 2 awards out of that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was phenomenal.
I wish we could play back the recordings MVP and I had to do to get that award speech going. I think we've tried like 15 times just to get that
crazy.
2 minutes.
We were sitting in my dining room just like, all right, how do we do this? How do we set everything up? Okay, read this. All right, no, we sounded too robotic. And then 6 one time was like, oh, I forgot the words halfway through. And yeah, I think I repeated myself on more than one occasion. Just regurgitated the same line, but mixed up the words a little bit,
Yeah.
makes you have a little more respect for the people that accept awards on live television.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah, it makes sense why they go up there now and say, I'd just like to thank my family and my friends for this award. It means a lot to me. I love you all so much. And that's the end of their speech. And you're like, okay. I understand why they do it now.
Right. Yeah. And we only had like a 90-second window. So like, how do we say thank you to everybody in 90 seconds? And not just make it sound like a laundry list of names. So I'm like, crap. And so that's what also led to us doing it 15 times. Because on the 15th take, we wrapped off so many, and it still ended up being like 2 minutes and 30 seconds or something. And it was like, well, we can't shorten it down any further. So whatever, just throw it in, see what happens. If they cut it off, they cut it off. And they ended up using all 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So that was nice.
Yeah, and that was nice too that they didn't cut it off, because I know they put that stipulation there, but there was other contenders for the awards that had longer, thank you speeches, and they let them get it out. So that was nice.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. when they went live with the awards, I got real pissed that we didn't win. I got so mad. So I was in my bedroom at the time. I was listening to all this as I was getting ready to go take a shower, right? Because I just got home from work when they went live, and as soon as they announced the winner of best overall, everyone was messaging me like, "Oh, moment of truth, man! Here we go!" And as soon as they said someone else other than us, like I just threw my phone, like, "God damn it!" and Nine, my wife, and my kids were like, they come running into the room like, "Well, what happened? What was that?" I'm like, nothing.
I got second best.
Oh.
Now looking at it hindsight, right? Caught up in the moment and all that stuff. But then shortly thereafter, you're like, but you know what? As long as we've been doing this, and then in the short amount of time we've been doing it comparatively, to get second best overall in those awards is still a phenomenal feat.
And we lost to a good podcast. I mean,
oh, for sure.
We can only get so mad about it.
Yeah. So yeah, like what you guys were saying, in hindsight, for us to even be in that run, first attempt, first year, I think we barely narrowed out the criteria to even be on the show,
right,
at the time, and it was just like, wow, man, like we really did go this far. That's pretty wild, and we seriously have every single one of you to thank. You, the listeners, you, the patrons, you, the people in the industries that we're representing. Every last one of you contributed to the success, and we can't straight up thank you guys enough for getting us this far.
Yeah, absolutely. Without you guys, we wouldn't have got these new-ish now microphones, and the podcast wouldn't sound as good. And also, we wouldn't know that we're doing this for a good reason. We wouldn't have the listenership that we have. We wouldn't have any of that. So really, really appreciate all of you guys.
Yeah, you give us motivation to keep going. For me, I really like when you guys reach out to us on social media and ask questions or give us your stories or hey, just heard about you guys, listened to an episode. I think you're really great. We'd like to do a collab if that's possible. And we've had some great collabs over the last year.
Yeah.
Been a lot of fun, been very informational. And again, it's just motivation to keep going. Like, well, we must be doing something right out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of listenership interactions, usually around this time, whenever we hit a major milestone, we put it out to you, the listeners, to like throw us some questions, throw us some feedback, give us something that you want to hear us talk about. And one of the questions, I'm going to jump ahead and highlight some of them. One question they asked was, what are some of your craziest listener stories that you have heard? Well, I want to say, for me anyway, one of the craziest ones I've heard was the how do I say? They were going to service the lav, and it was frozen solid, and he's chipping away at it with this 6-inch screwdriver, and then he breaks the ice cap, and it all just dumps right on him.
He broke the ice plug, and blue juice everywhere. I can smell it. You know what's weird is every time somebody says blue juice, I smell it.
Gross.
It's gross, man. It's so gross. Every time I would have a lab job come up, I'm like, I'm just going to MEL that. Don't have the time to work on that today. Or you take one of the junior guys who likes to take a lot of smoke breaks. Like, hey, man, I got a job for you. Oh, okay, what's up? Yeah, just go take care of this one task. Okay, sounds good. Dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I'd say anything with a lav is the winner. like if you have a lav story, we want to hear it, but we don't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's one of those like, what happens next? But then
Right.
you can already tell it's going to be something horrific, so you kind of don't want to just block that part
it's
out.
a train wreck, right? You don't want to look at it, but you can't turn away for some reason.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Exactly.
Something morbidly satisfying about it.
You're just happy it wasn't you. That's the thing.
I think that's what it really is. You're like, man, that looks like it sucks. Thoughts and prayers. Really glad it wasn't me though.
Totally.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see here. Another question that we got was what's the funniest, craziest thing you guys have seen on the field or in a deployment setting? Who wants to go first on that one?
I'll go first. So we're in a deployed location, and we've got different entities out there for different parts of the systems, right? We'll call them payloads for this podcast. And so we had a payload personnel out there, and so they had to go arm the payload, throw a switch essentially on the payload, and we were telling them that he had asked us before, like, hey, what if comms goes down, and we're launching the bird, how do we maintain comms? Said super easy, man. There's actually a backup microphone system on the aircraft. I said, really? I said, yeah. You see these little flat discs right here with all the holes in it? Yeah. Well, that's the backup. So if your handheld goes down, you just go up and talk into that. Oh, okay, awesome. So some time goes by and this and that, and we get the air crew and the rest of us on the launch crew, and I'll never forget this day. And we get out there, we're like, all right, today and this launch, we're going to tell him that we're all going to be standing on the side like we listening on our radios, but we can't hear his radios coming across. And so the air crew is the same thing. So he's looking, and the air crew is like putting both hands in the air, shaking their head and tapping their headsets like they can't hear. And he turns around and looks at us, and we're all like with our handhelds to our ear, and we're shaking our heads that we can't hear him. And so he kind of like, what do I do? And so we point to those flat discs, right? And he, to go use that, and he goes over there and he puts his mouth around it, he goes, arming. And then we're with our heads still at the handhelds, we're like, no. And he goes, arming. and then we're still there, we're like, use your man voice louder. And he gets over, arming. Oh my God, dude. I just fucking fell on the ground. I was laughing so hard. And he goes, what's so fucking funny? We had him yelling into the static ports. They were microphones. That was one of the, I'll never forget that for as long as I can, as my brain's still good, Man, that shit was so comical. I think about that quite often, and I laugh just as hard every time.
So Not my story, but similar but different experience is we would have someone do that exact same thing, but instead of the static ports, there would be like this horn on the bottom of the aircraft, and we'll tell him like, hey, that's a microphone that feeds directly into the pilot's headset. And so he's right there with his lips on this horn, say whatever it is you gotta say, pilot or what, or a ground crew to pilot or some shit, putting his lip full on this horn, and it's like he can't hear you, man. That horn is actually the piss drain tube from the pilot's seat to the outside. So here he is, lips on this thing and everything, like pilot, ground crew to pilot.
Oh my god! Oh, that's the best. That's the best.
That's fucked up.
Oh my god! I'm picturing it though. I've seen it happen before, man. It's so funny.
Oh man.
Now, there are times when we'll have pilots who are not so great, right? And we'll do something fucked up. Well, we'll take that drain horn and we'll flip it in the opposite direction where it's facing the direction of flight instead of away. So when the air comes in, when they're flying, it's going to send air up the tube. So here they go to go relieve themselves in this piss tube and the air's rushing in. So their piss just flies all over the cockpit.
Oh god! The worst part about that is you can only do that if you know that bird's not coming back to the same station it left from. You got to send it down range to somebody else, man.
Yes,
because you're gonna be the one cleaning it. That's piss everywhere.
Okay, so for my story, as far as the craziest thing I've ever seen, we're in the field and this one of those like dark zero light operations. Like if it's not what's it called, infrared or black lights, it turns off like completely. Like we weren't even allowed to use red lights. That's how dark they wanted it.
Yeah, NVG ops only.
Yes, that's it. And it got so dangerous to the point where like we couldn't see where the planes were, so they started giving us night vision goggles. Makes sense. And so here we are. We got their night vision on. We think we're all cool, Splinter Cell type people. We see the planes fly away. And we just so happen to be looking around with these because some of us have never messed around with NVGs before. So like, I can see everything. Like, if any of you have ever tried it, if you put night vision goggles on, even like the stuff Cabela sells at one of their stores, and you look up to the stars, you see trillions upon trillions of stars because that's just how sensitive they are to light. Anyway, we're looking around and we see off to the corner, we see like two people sneaking off around the corner. We're like, what the fuck's going on? And we round that corner to see who they were. And there they are getting it on in the corner in the dark. Just like, okay. Just gonna go ahead and leave now. You guys realize you're on an airfield, right? We just let them do their thing. Like, whatever, man. If they're sneaking enough to try to do it in the dark where there's potentially planes landing, by all means,
go for it.
Go for it. Go nuts.
When you get the urge.
Right. How about you, Shoreline? What was the craziest thing you've seen in the field in your place?
I would say probably I've got a story similar to your guys' first one. So we were sitting there on a stage at a festival, and this was just funny to me. So we're sitting there, and I'm running patch, so I'm just plugging everything in, making sure the stage is running properly. My monitor guy, who's controlling what the band hears, he has a radio that goes to our front of house guy, which controls what the audio hears, or what the audience hears. So he, once the band started playing, started messing with the front of house guy. My monitor guy did, and he would whistle into the radio. So the front of house guy would think it was feedback. So then you just see him freaking out, like grabbing his headphones, listening to all the different mics, being like, where is that coming from? Oh my God. And he's like freaking out. And it's just my buddy whistling on the radio. And then, and so like this carries on for like the first two songs. and he is just like red in the face. We're outside. He's like sweating. It was great. And then all of a sudden, Oz, my buddy Oz, makes eye contact with him and is just like, he waves at him and whistles, and he points to the radio and he goes, and you just see the disappointment on rolling off of the guy. It was great.
God damn it!
It goes from flushed red to ghost white.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, oh my god. The other story that I think is really fun. So I was doing this show, and we load in. It is hot. I mean, it was 117 degrees outside. It was probably 120, 125 on the stage because it's all black and it was enclosed and it was rough. And I'm the monitor guy, and I'm like deliriously hot. I'm there all day, right? Well, we're getting the show started like 2 songs in. Not even joking. There's like 16 people at this entire show. Like, it is so poorly attended. It's out in the middle of nowhere in eastern Washington, and it was brutally hot, like I said, and all of a sudden, out of absolutely nowhere, I have no idea where this guy came from. This man in a bacon suit comes running up and is just dancing on everybody. And it was just the most funny thing. I don't know why I lost my shit when I saw that. I was just like it just with the weather and everything, it was just great. That moment came to mind when you guys mentioned funniest thing. So
making pancakes, making bacon pancakes.
Exactly.
That would have been hilarious if he said that shit.
Dude, I mean, he was running up on everybody, just fucking dancing on them in this giant bacon suit. I mean, it was like, have you ever seen the banana suits?
Yeah.
It was like that, but bacon. It was great.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Has there ever been a time where you have spoken up for yourself in a situation and then later felt that maybe speaking up was a bad idea due to repercussions from your management or your peers? Ooh, that's pretty serious. I'm going to say for myself, I would say yes, to a point. And the reason why I say to a point is because it wasn't that I spoke up for myself. It's how I spoke up for myself. And MVP can vouch this for me. There are times when so much stupid comes your way, you just lose all discipline. Jocko, you heard this discipline. That wasn't very disciplined of you. And that's when the frustration really shows, like, you piece of shit. The knife hands come out. And after the fact, you're like, maybe I shouldn't have yelled at him like that. Maybe I should have came off just a wee bit nicer. But at the same time, you're like, well, it happened. He or she needed to hear it. It is what it is. I'll deal with it.
For me, it was where, like Six said, but it's all the stupidity. It comes at you from different angles. So it just breaks you down, right? You try to handle it in a professional manner, but over the course of just getting beaten down by stupidity, I chose to respond with stupidity, i.e., okay, I'm going to give you the answer like you guys are giving me. I'm going to turn around what you're giving to me and respond to you accordingly. But that only goes so far when you reply all mistakenly in an email that goes all the way up to the VP and some high USG governmental officials. You get some people knocking on your door of your office pretty quick after that. So that was mine. We're like, oh, son of a, I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, how did they find out? And as soon as they leave, one of my people turned to me and like, you realize you replied all, right? And I was like, no fucking way. And I go look at my email like, so man, open mouth, insert foot, dude. I'm done.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
And that's very recent. Very recently did that happen.
Damn.
Yep.
That's rough. I can't say I've ever regretted speaking up for myself, I didn't leave a company, but I started working for other companies earlier this year. And a large part of that was because of how things were happening at the previous company I was working at. And, that was me basically just saying, hey, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And it's actually worked out much better for me. I can't say I've been in a position where speaking out or holding people accountable has not either benefited me or put me in a position to go do other things that I enjoy more.
Right.
So I guess I would add to that. I don't regret what I did, calling certain individuals less than acceptable humans with minimal brain power, to put it politely, in the all hands email that I sent that I didn't mean to reply all. It's meant for it to go to a couple of individuals who would have agreed with me, but the unfortunate side is that some of the people that I was calling those names, and I called them out by name in that email, they went to them directly. So yeah, I don't regret it. They needed to hear it, but just should have validated what I verified before I sent, I guess,
Yeah, for sure.
But now to it, because of that, right, it takes a little bit of time to rebuild that relationship, so to speak, because regardless of how inadequate they are in their jobs, you still have to work with them.
Yep.
So it's going to take a little bit of time to, especially if you need something done, right? If you go to them, hey, I need you to review this document because you're part of the signatory or whatever on it, they're going to go, yeah, I'll get to it fucking whenever I feel like it. It's not my problem. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whereas if you had a better, more professional relationship, they would probably get to it quicker than they would now.
Right.
But you know what? I mean, at the end of the day, though, I kind of look and I was thinking about it and I was talking with my counterparts and they're like, yeah, but if the document's awaiting release because they haven't signed it yet and they're just not signing it out of spite, he goes, that's ultimately going to come back on them too. So he goes, everything you said in the email, they would just prove you right. I was like, you know what? That's a good point.
Right. What I have learned by doing that is I've figured out ways to tell you that you're sucking at your job, but in a more HR friendly way. If that
tactful.
makes tactful. There it is.
Yeah.
Tactful. Right. Like instead of saying you fucking suck, get your shit together, it would say something like your lack thereof or inability to bridge gaps is hindering our ability to accomplish the assigned task or project. And if I say that in an email, like I don't know what those are to the senior executive side, but it implodes their brains. Like it sends them full into the code red. Like they're doing what now? Because when they hear
anybody who can read between the lines and understands that verbiage is going to go, something's wrong.
Yeah. So for those of you out there, if you say words like inability or impeding and assigned task in the same sentence, it will destroy people's brains. Like bean counters galore are freaking like blowing up.
If you say their actions are lacking and inadequate to the point of driving cost of repair up for X, Y, and Z reasons, when you put that driving up cost, just those three words in there, that rings a lot of 7-alarm fire stations coming out there,
Yep. And like that puts blood in the water and sharks will come, I swear. So I don't regret it. I mean, they needed to hear it, but now I've learned to say things a little bit more of a tactful way that not only puts the point across, but now it turns on the brains of all these senior execs or all these senior bean counters to now put eyes on that person. It's like, also, you're the reason why we're not having things done, right? Instead of just like, oh, okay, yeah, business as usual. We're having the usual ups and downs and the trends and all this shit. But now that you've pointed a specific reason, now the blood's in the water. So long explanation.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, so to add more on top of what you're saying, I have a dictionary at my desk for this specific reason. So if I had to give you any advice on it, if you're about to explode, go take a lap around the hangar, come back, open the dictionary, and then proceed to type your email. Get your mind clear a little bit, let the rage subdue, and then turn that rage into turning the pages of the dictionary and finding those words, as Six had said, and composing a well-written email, and then letting the email do the work.
Totally.
Yep. Okay, so this one's a little bit more, another serious question. With supply chain issues becoming more and more common, do you foresee many more engines and aircraft becoming orphaned? And have you seen shop wait times increase because of this shortage? Ooh, let's see. Okay.
I see that daily, weekly right now with certain specifically chemicals, and maybe hazardous waste material that we use on the program that are necessary for the operation of it. We are running into supply chain issues, and it's becoming a big problem. And we're also, competing with other programs and assets out there that, you think your program's number one within your organization, but across the globe, you might be number 5. And that's what we're finding out.
Yep.
That there's so due to, COVID and all that stuff, whoever the manufacturer of these components are, have either lost people, laid off people, maybe like barely scraping by, just to keep the doors open, but their production rate is down, and thereby slowing down the delivery for the demand. Right. Yeah, we see that. I see that on a daily, weekly basis, and there's constant meetings. And okay, what we're kind of doing now is, okay, we have this maintenance coming up. Can we do a overall inspection of whatever it is, and then determine that it's still operationally sound enough that we can leave it alone, thereby not requiring the use of this to keep what we do have in supply for emergency cases only. And we're also working with engineering to extend beyond your 10% overflies and things like that, and working with engineering to cut memorandums and directives to allow for continual flight as long as it's safe for flight type deal.
Right. And I also
that's something we're doing.
I also see this along the lines of like consumable materials, like stuff that you just normally would think that they're stocked up on, like O-rings, filters, common one-time use items. Now, certain places they'll have, each company will have like a certain stock of stuff for a particular customer, and some customers are better than others in predicting how much they're gonna need, so they'll just buy up a set amount, and most others don't have a dedicated supply chain to give them their stuff they need. So you could have like a place, like say let's say Home Depot, for instance, and they have like 12 customers, and each of the 12 customers bought their own stock of stuff. And then here comes you, like say, hey, I need such and such parts. They have it, but they don't have it to give to you because it's already been bought and paid for by someone else. So now you're asking one of those 12 customers to give you one, or for you to buy one from them. But they already have theirs planned out. Like, this is how much we need, and this is how much we're going to need to extend or survive for however long. So they're just not willing and able to give it to you. And you're just sitting there in frustration, like, it's there, it's right there. I know, I just need one. And
in my realm, what I'm learning with that too, right, is like, hey, can we buy one of those from you? No, because we planned right. It's not our fault you didn't plan right. This is for our program's continued productive operation. But what I'm also learning is that if there's a higher priority program out there and they didn't plan as well, because they're higher priority, they come in and say, hey, we'd like to buy one of those from you. And you say no. They go, okay, well, now I'm just taking it. So, and then you lose your stock because a higher priority program will get what they need.
Right.
Just by who's running those said programs.
Right.
Right. And where they rack and stack within the order of operations.
Yeah.
Trying not to give away too much information, but that's kind of the case. We also have learned recently, man, this question really hit home. Also have learned recently, and we have an actual corrective action out there, 6. We've identified that if your program or if your assets operate in multiple locations and you have stations around the country, around the globe, whatever the case is, we figured out that there was no contingency stock identified.
There it is. There's the magic word right there.
Right. So the contingency stock is supposed to be for your non-main base of operations, right? Mm-hmm. You have a stock that's for your main base of operations, and your contingency is to feed out your off-site, your off-main base or main area of operations sites. Yep. And so what we happened is our supply bled down. We're like, okay, well, why is our main supply? We haven't done that much work here to burn up all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, but we did all the work at this place and this place and this place. And you're like, yeah, that's taken from the contingency. We don't have a contingency. Oh, son of a bitch. All right. Well, we got to figure that out now. Here's your corrective action.
Damn.
Like why we didn't have that,
Yep.
So would have never have known, right? If Rona and all that BS didn't happen, it might have never reared its ugly head. That we never found found a hole in the system,
right?
But because again with COVID, so many things within how we operate have been affected that we're finding, man, just faults here and there. Just all the wickets have been, lined up. The holes in the Swiss cheese all lined up, and we're falling straight through. So,
yep,
totally, and it's affecting every industry.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know personally, so I'm less on the install side of things now, but I used to work for this company, and I know they have some gear for jobs that are currently getting completed that is on back order for up to 6 months. Because the semiconductor shortage and all the other things that all these shortages have caused, it's hitting everybody.
Yeah.
Well, to add to that Shoreline, so Kool-Aid and I went to go buy a couch on Black Friday. I think they told us 4 or 5 months for a couch. You know what I mean? Like it's not just aviation parts and music industry and all that stuff. It's just even furniture.
Everything.
And if you live in California, probably all that stuff's sitting out in the harbor of Long Beach right now, rusting and getting corroded away, and probably been inhabited by a family of seagulls at this point. But
yeah,
just that's just some of the issues with it.
Where we're at right now.
It is what it is right now. I hate saying that phrase, man. It's like one of the biggest pet peeve phrases of mine. It is what it is. Like, oh, give me something else, but just make up a story.
But man, you try going through so many avenues to try to get a problem solved, and you just hit a massive wall no matter where you go, and eventually you just like, I'm just going to drive myself insane here because I'm still dependent on somebody else to do their job, and if they're basically going, nope, I'm stuck and I don't want to do anymore.
Yep.
And then at some point you just go, well, it is what it is. Somebody higher than me is going to make a call somewhere and something will get done.
Yep.
As terrible as it is to admit defeat like that sometimes. Because that's kind of what it feels like to me is when I say it is what it is. And I say it, I'm guilty of it. But it's like admitting defeat.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. What has been your favorite episodes or episode moments? Ooh. I really got to dig.
For me, for the past year, one of my favorite time was when all three of us got together at your house 6 for that weekend and just sat around the table and recorded numerous episodes. But just to be able to sit face to face like that and actually feed off one another and see that, the others smile and laugh. And that was really good.
Most def. That is definitely one of my higher moments. Like probably my highest moment was like, we're just here, we're together, we're actually conversing, having a great time. And for those that record in person, it's very different when you guys record remotely because you don't really have that connection. I mean, we're talking together, we see each other on the screen and stuff, but it's so much different when you're in person, and you'd be amazed just how much you guys sync up when you're in person. Like when we did this in person, like what MVP said, we were just laughing like a solid 30 minutes each episode prior. We're just laughing, having the stupidest conversations. It was great. I would say another one of my favorite moments, this is again another in person, was when we did that collab episode with Dick Talk and Mimosas. Holy shit, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was really funny. Them girls are hilarious.
I went into that episode recording thinking they're just gonna like put us on the spot and we're gonna be just blushing the whole time, where they'll like drop some kind of nugget of knowledge and they'll just stare at us like, so what do you have to say? Like,
that's funny.
Liquid.
Yeah, but really, it was really cool just sitting around having a glass of whiskey and just talking about whatever, you know.
Yes, most def. And collabs are always going to be one of my favorite things to do, just because like we're bringing another element into what we're doing, and it's nice to just bounce off ideas that are just similar but different to what we know. And yeah, like those are my favorites. Whenever we do collabs or bring a guest on, those are like my favorite moments, because we're either bringing someone that adds more to what we already have been saying, or just throws in an element which we never covered yet.
Totally. Yeah, and every collab we've done has been that way. They've all been informative of, you know, we had the one, was it the plaid jacket philosopher out of Canada? He's in the mining industry, right?
Yep.
I learned a lot about what goes on in the mining industry there.
Right. Yes.
Totally. Oftentimes the issues they have are the same issues we experience in aviation, or even in the music industry, as you know, Shoreline's part of. Just you realize that all industries, while different, have a lot of the same issues in the background, right?
Yes.
Right. As we just talked about with supply,
right.
or personnel, or management, or you name it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stupid is everywhere. It is not industry exclusive. Like it is, it is everywhere.
It's very true.
We should make that into a bumper sticker.
It's just stupid is everywhere.
We should make that a bumper sticker. Stupid is everywhere.
I see stupid people. Yeah. I kind of have to agree with all of you guys. And one of my personal favorites is also a collaboration we did. Less a collaboration, more of a guest we had. When we had Hot Wings on, and just learning, she was a very, very fun guest, and it was just one of those. It was cool to see how life is kind of in another country, and to have somebody else's perspective that is from around the halfway around the world. That was a really good time, and I really enjoyed her as a guest, and it was just fun. Anytime we can do that, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, we definitely need to bring her back on. She was a blast.
Yeah. I will say that my other favorite is anytime my dad asks me questions about the podcast, because he listens every week. That's cool. Yeah, he listens on his way to work every Friday. So I always appreciate that. So shout out, Dad. Love you.
Woo woo.
Yeah. Thank you, Shoreline Senior.
Yeah.
I don't know I know my parents were listening at one time. I don't know if they listen anymore. The only thing they would ever tell me is, I think you curse too much. And I'm like, where do you think I learned it, though? Yeah, like you guys are saints over there. Jeez, you prime and I listen to you guys curse up a storm just because you dropped a hot dog on the ground.
Yeah, that's my dad. He's cursing. He's cursing in his car on the way to work, thinking about work.
Yeah, I mean that's what normal people do. and my dad's retired now, but I assume he still curses every day. Just because of something. And my mom still works, so I assume she's cursing on the way to work every day. But to pretend you're not, like, okay, all high and mighty over there.
Yeah.
This reminds me of those negative comments or negative reviews we got.
I was just going to say, I think this is my third favorite moment
Yeah. Like, you guys are a bunch of unprofessionals. All you do is cry, moan, and bitch about work and cuss and this and that. I'm like, welcome to aviation, bro. Like, if you've never had or experienced or done any of these, did you even work, man?
Yeah, did you show up to work at all? Because the ones are like, man, this place is the best and there's no place better than this. And you're like, yeah, well, that's easy for you because you don't do anything here every day. And
Right.
they won't fire you for some reason. I don't understand why that's the case, but the rest of us, this is a normal part of the day.
Right. There was this one meme that I saw. It's like, it's easy to look sharp when you don't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Damn, swing.
Yeah, it was so fun. Just all of our reactions to those comments, I think was one of my favorite things.
Yes.
Who we had somebody 6 responded to them on there. I don't remember who it was. I think it was to add in another favorite time. I'm gonna throw out there favorite call sign I've heard so far on the show, and that's been Buns. That's still my favorite. Buns is still my favorite, man. And just for the story of how I got it too, you know. But was it Buns? Did he get on there and respond to some of those people? Somebody got on there that we had on the show, and they got on there and like just with a tactful wording, cut them to shreds. You know what I mean?
I love it.
I love it. No, it was not Buns. Matter of fact, it was Brian, one of the guys who was responsible for us even having the show. He actually has his own show now about surf fishing. It's like,
nice.
It's called Finding Demo, which is freaking hilarious.
That's pretty good.
So he actually got on. He just ripped him up. It was hilarious. And then this other guy jumps in. I don't remember his name, but he goes in there and just freaking tears them up. And they just tag teaming, blowing these dudes up. It was hilarious. So that's definitely a top favorite moment. Okay, here, let's do one more question. We'll close this part out of the Q&A. And I think it kind of leads into the rest of this episode. It goes, what are your plans for your podcast in the future? Ooh, heavy.
I would love to see us do more collaborations. I would love for us to continue to have the same interaction that we have on Discord, just with more people. And anybody that is interested, you can subscribe for, I believe, as little as $1 and a month, and you have access to our Discord. And I just think we have a lot of fun in there. Getting that interaction up would be great. Also, I would love to do a couple of like little seminar things, or like show you guys how I edit an episode. If you guys are interested in that, just let us know and we'll try to make it happen. Eventually, I would love to do a live in-person like show.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, I get up to a convention or something, which we already had planned, and then the Ronas. But
right.
To get out and do one of those live, face to face, bring some people in for that and talk. I would like to travel. I would like for us to get together more.
Mm-hmm.
I know life just gets in the way, but that would be my goal, would be able to travel to some of our people we want to do collabs with. And then, we have listeners from all around the world, man. Just if we had the time and the funds, but the time to, hey, we're going to head over to the Philippines, and like, we'll be here for, 3 or 4 days, and we'd like to sit down and record a couple episodes with our listeners, and then go over to Switzerland and do the same thing, and then head down and do one with Hot Wings, and I think that'd be fantastic.
That'd be such a blast. I know for a fact with collabs, we at least got three lined up in the near future. And
nice.
And we've pitched it out, and it just didn't work out because of shift changes and whatnot. But I most definitely would like to get a good representation of women mechanics on the show, just so it kind of shows that we're not just talking about what men go through, because what women go through in any industry is a world in and of itself. It just is. And having those women that we had lined up to come on the show would have been freaking fantastic. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, it was going to be called Flight of the Valkyries, right?
Right. And we actually had a merch line signed up just that was inspired by them, and we still have that out. We just haven't really been pushing it as hard because we wanted them to be the front run of it. Like we did this because of you, and we want you guys to have first dibs in everything that has to do with it. No, nothing sponsored or nothing, but we're just saying like we made this because of you.
Totally.
And, yep.
Like what Charlene was saying, I'd like to do a live show. I'd like to have a seminar. At one point, we even thought about having just like a virtual conference almost at one point. That's a little bit of a logistics thing, but I'm totally down to do this because there's so much knowledge and information that can be put out there for people who are already in an industry or people who are thinking about coming into an industry that just don't have the ins and outs of what's relevant here and now. And by all means, like if we have to just host it on a Discord channel for like an hour, we're totally down to do that. It's just a matter of the interest that brings in, because with all things considered, especially in a seminar and a conference thing, it's about who's going to show up. Because then if we're going to make this effort to make it good and make it informative, it's kind of defeating the purpose if it's only just going to be for 3 people, and then that can just be more of a one-on-one thing.
Right.
There's just so much stuff we got going on, and we have planned, and it's really just hinging on the schedules of how things are going now, and then what other limiting factors are there, like say with technology, because we're still going with remote everything. So live event stuff is very few and far in between. It's getting there. Yeah,
I can attest. It's getting there.
But like with all things, like when it shuts down for a while and you try to turn it back on, it takes a minute for it to spool back up into its normal operating rate. So we're doing those things. And if you have any suggestions or questions you guys want us to do, please reach out to us. We're all about getting that feedback. We're all about reaching out to you. We're all about interacting with you because this is for you. Ooh, that sounds very sales pitchy.
Exactly. No, totally. No, it's for the people, by the people.
It's true. Yeah, it's true though.
Yeah. No, it's definitely been a very fun ride, and it's I'm looking forward to seeing some of the stuff we got in the works. So
most dev. So do we get like a silver trophy like we do in PlayStation, man, for hitting 25?
Man, we have 2 golden Mjolnirs that are sitting around somewhere, so I'll take those. Yeah,
most def. Those trophies are freaking amazing. Broken Jarhead and Travis, thank you guys so much for that. Like, I stare at it all the time. I'm like, fuck yeah, man.
So for those,
I was just looking at the coin the other day that we got, the challenge coin for the awards. Yeah. I was just looking at that the other day.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, the reward for the Veteran Podcast Awards were golden Mjolnirs. If you don't know what Mjolnir is, go watch Marvel movies. But it's Thor's hammer, and it's awesome.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah,
like,
they're pretty sweet.
I'm not gonna lie. Like when I got it, I was just like, look at me, I'm double hammering, double finned. It feels pretty good in the hand. Like fuck yeah, man, hell yeah. It almost makes me want to throw it just because you already got that Thor feel. But like I should probably not do that.
but it's not going to come back to you.
Yeah.
Or will it? I don't know. Try it.
It will, or will it?
Man, if we end up with the correct amount of resources, maybe we split this into 2 podcasts and we have like I think it'd be fun to have like this. Obviously, Cancel for Maintenance, that'll be its own thing. But then we should do like a Marvel one or like a comic booky one, because you guys don't understand how many conversations we have offline about shit that does not pertain at all to anything we talk about on the air. Like,
heck yeah.
Right.
And we've actually been releasing those as bonus rounds to Discord and to Patreon. So hint, go check those out. And it's just off the wall, man. It's freaking hilarious. We got hours upon hours of just us nerding and geeking out over the dumbest shit. It's freaking great. Marvel, DC, Dragon Ball, anime in general, movies in general, video games in general, man. You'd be amazed. Like, how the fuck are these dudes?
Yeah, we always have those fun conversations on Discord as well. So
most def, all those on Discord, our patrons on Discord, we freaking love you guys because you guys feed into the geek and we're just like nerding out the entire time.
Exactly.
Oh, guys, I had a blast, and Shoreline is freaking. It's amazing having you back, man. I'm telling you, these
Yeah,
many
it's been
months
super
about
good to hear your voice.
these many
Yeah,
months
man.
without you, it's just wrong.
I know it's this winter I've got some downtime. The summer through actually most of the fall even. It's been kind of a wild ride. Events are back in full swing, but some techs aren't around anymore or left the industry, and so it's left me with a lot of work, especially working for. I think I'm up to like 5 companies now. So
Sure.
Holy cow.
yeah. But December and January are pretty dead right now. So unless that changes, hopefully you guys will get me for the next month or two.
Man, maybe we should schedule something in January where we all get together. We'll have to synchronize our schedules.
Synchronize.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
It's a grand plan. It must be.
Exactly. Cool.
All right, fellas.
Without further ado, congratulations, guys, on 25,000, and thank you, all of you listeners, for us reaching 25,000. And hope you guys have a great rest of your day and have a great holiday.
Right. Until next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.